We demystify what goes on behind the therapy room door. Join us on this voyage of discovery and co-creative conversations. This is the Therapy Show, Behind Closed Doors podcast.
With Bob Cooke
and Kellie Barratt.
Hello and welcome to the Therapy Show Behind Closed Doors. I'm Kellie Barratt and I'm here with the wonderful Mr. Bob Cooke. Hey, Bob.
Hello, thank you for that. And I was just thinking, I know this podcast is on Parental Introjects, and when I was I didn't have a particularly good childhood, and I never experienced anyone stroking me in that way, talking about wonderful Bob Cooke or anything like that. And so my internalized parental introjects before therapy were the opposite of what you just said to me.
Yeah, so criticizing you.
Yeah. So this is what we've been talking about when people come in and they're very hard on themselves. This is a podcast. This is about parental introjects.
It is, yes, working with parental introjects. It's really hard for me to say that. Working with parental introjects in the therapy process.
So what that simply means is, in developmental terms, when we're growing up, we take on board, that's what introjects means, the significant other people around us. So we're internalizing, if it was a healthy process, how to take care of ourselves and how to be nurturing and all these different things, or belief systems. And as we grow up, they become part of ourselves and hopefully enhance our lives. Howard was a very famous psychoanalyst, called them positive or negative self-objects.
So what's a self-object?
Yeah, the other person's the object. So the
I see. Right.
We take them on board, we internalize them, and they become guiding lights or negative saboteurs.
So we kind of swallow them whole.
Yeah, if we swallow them whole. If we can spit them out, that's fantastic. But quite often the people come into therapy when they've swallowed them whole and aren't able to develop self-agency.
So they kind of live under the tyranny of the parental introject.
The negative introject or a negative self-object. There's a book, very famous book by Christopher Bolus, who's one of the most wonderful British psychoanalysts. He wrote a book which I think is one of the most well-known books. It's not that easy to read, but it's a fabulous book. And it's called Shadow Above the Object. So the object is the client in this case. The shadow is the parental introject.
Oh, that sounds interesting. How are we spelling bolus?
B-O-L-L-S. B-O-L-L-S.
Yeah. Great. Is it old?
Yeah. I think it's probably late 80s. He's a psychoanalyst. I don't know his age now, even if he's still alive. I'm sure he's still alive. Became a really well-known book talking about what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Great.
So how do you see this? How do you work with this, or how do you think about this clinically?
Yeah, clinically, so like I said, that often the clients I see are under the tyranny of the we would say in TA the controlling parent, and quite often they find the clients are finding it hard to break free of that tyranny. So they are reliving their parents' lives often, and that's fed into their script. So
So the controlling parent, TA terms, is the internal manifestation of the negative parent.
Yes. Yeah.
Or the internalized negative self-object, or the internalized parental introject from a negative perspective. Because what you're talking about is the functional model.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go into advanced TA, but it's a behavioral model. So the controlling behavior is an external manifestation of the internal phenomena.
That's a great sentence. Can we just unpick that?
Okay. So TA, they do talk about controlling parent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's a behavioral model.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the behaviors are the external the behaviors
Yeah.
are the external manifestation
Mm-hmm.
of what's happening internally.
Yes, of the internal phenomenon. Yes. Yes.
And that's very important because of what you just said. It's because they are living under the internal narrative, which they've internalized, taken on board, as if it was them usually, of the negative tyranny. So I agree with you completely. Now, how do you work with them?
So I feel so in the challenging of the parent is the protecting of the child. So challenging the behavior and it can or the ideas of the parent, and that can take quite a long time if they're really firmly embedded.
I tell you why it takes a long time. I tell you why they're firmly embedded in the clients you see. It's because most kids are loyal to their parents.
Yeah.
So yes, it will take a long time. It's a process, never an event. So what do you do clinically? Yes, embedded, and what do you do?
So yeah, so I get them to kind of think. So I might say, how come you're working so hard? How come you're not having a holiday? How come you're not able to rest? Or how come you're prioritizing work over your relationship? that. So just I think of it as kind of getting the adult to.
You like to encourage cognition. Okay.
I do primarily, yeah.
Okay, so they answer back like, I don't know. How come? What would you say? What did you just say? How come you're what?
How come you're working so hard?
Well, I'm working so hard because if I don't work very hard, nothing will come easy, will it? I've got to work hard because that's how life is. That is how life is. Just is that way.
And well, I'd say, is that really true?
Yes, I work 60 hours, just like my father. He worked 80 hours a day and we had a good living. He had a nice car. Look at all the money we got taken care of. Yes, that's how it is. I'm just being a bit of a devil's advocate because I can just imagine somebody saying that.
Yeah, I have never had a client respond like that.
How do they usually respond then?
I've got no other option. Everybody is working like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so they respond that way,
yeah. Everyone in this job has to do 70 hours a week. I say, well, how come you're not getting paid double the wage because you're doing double the hours?
Yeah.
So, really kind of, I might, be a bit confrontative, if that's a word, confronting of what they're doing. And then after a while, they might, I might then, once we've done that kind of initial stuff, kind of start talking to the child, like, what's it like to be so tired?
Yeah. So you're challenging the denial system.
Yeah.
Process.
Yeah.
And then you're encouraging the vulnerable child out.
Yeah.
Exhausted child.
Yeah. The child that's too scared to step outside of the usual parameters.
So then, of course, you could do what we talked about in the last podcast. You could put the exhausted child onto a chair and put in there. So I'm just saying that because we talked about it, didn't we?
Yes.
So you talk to the child, you challenge the denial system or whatever it is, and then you coach the child.
Yeah. And then give lots of permissions that it's okay for them to rest. It's okay for them to do things that they enjoy. They don't need to keep working to be loved. They are important. it's
is that for you? Is that a type of reparenting?
yes, I think I'm modeling a nurturing parent.
Mm. Well, you're taking on the parent, of course, which is by definition listening to that, what they may think is crap. So, or they may disagree with, put it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're giving new permissions and hopefully the relationship with the therapist, which is you, will allow them to perhaps take those permissions on board.
Yes. Yeah. And that can take some time as well. It's not clients often, in my experience, they don't hear the permissions once or twice. They need to keep hearing them repeatedly over time.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that's great that you've got a structure that way. There's a maximum I always think about when working, and really taking on the parent or helping the client empower themselves. And that is when you work with the vulnerable egos, the child ego state, you will be also working, even if you don't challenge the narrative explicitly, the parent. In other words, the parent's always around, listening on.
Yeah.
So you've got a choice, really. You can continue working with the child ego state, or talking to the child, or giving the permissions, which is fine, by the way. Or you could actually talk to the parent.
Do you mean a parent interview?
Oh. No. This is what you said in the last podcast, and I said back to you that I know the parent interview, which is written up by John Neal in 1979. But as I like to talk to the parent a lot in therapy, I prefer the term parent therapy,
which I love. I think it's a great term.
Yeah. So, do I then talk to the parent or the internalized projection or the internalized parent, whatever word you want to use? Really, I think it's internalized parent. And the words yes. So another option to go in therapy, if giving your example, I like giving permissions where you're empowering self-agency and all those things. So it's really options in therapy, is to say, and what would your parent think about this if you did things differently? Oh, well, what would they say? Oh, well, don't listen to this therapist. Just don't listen to therapists, because you've got to be strong in this world. You can't just be so soft that you just lounge around at home. You know what it's like? You were pretty lazy when you were a kid. Right. So then I would then come in and talk to the parent.
Directly.
It sounded a bit like, is that your experience really? What do you mean by lazy? I'd start then talking to them, and where it would usually go, Kelly, by the way, is their own relationship with their own parents. They're modeling down. So if you can get to the child, in TA terms, if you can get to the child part of the parent or the vulnerable part of the parent, then you can get to the generational script, which is usually passed down. So that's another way of working with parental introjects.
Yes, that's I can see the second, is it the structural model of the parent, adult, and child, and thinking about the numbers of like the
don't go down.
I know it's too complex, but that sounds fascinating.
Especially for people listening.
Yeah, they're not interested in that yet.
It's just it's a bit like I've got to a stage in my life that I'm sure in another world I would have been a psychodramatist.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just love setting up situations where we can empower the clients to talk to their internalized parents through creative techniques.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's been really beneficial.
I like family constellations, though I never trained in it. But I like the idea, and I like the idea of getting to the vulnerable part of the parent. because that's where the scared decision was made from.
And that's how they've parented, from that scared place.
Yeah. So working with the parent, doing therapy for the parent, if you like.
Yeah.
Perhaps charge the parent, by the way, for this. But put it another way around. You see, the parent is living in the psyche of your client rent free, and
Yes.
causing havoc.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, real havoc. Yeah.
So if you can get to what it's all about from that place, you can empower self-agency for the child and help them grow up.
So help the parent grow up.
Be parents, a good word, or another word is reparative healing. And I think reparenting sometimes has bad press, but I believe that a lot of what therapists do in the service, what I'm talking about here, is a form of reparenting. I'm not talking about replacement therapy. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about where in the transference, I'm going to use that word. I haven't used it for a long time. Clients get a reparative experience.
Yes, and I do have clients that say to me, "Oh, I wish you could meet my mum," or so you'd know what
you could tell them off. You could tell them off. You could say that behaviour that you were part of with your daughter or son, it just wasn't on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's really healing.
What's all that about?
Yeah. And so the client's child, hears us challenging or tackling the parent
Now, a really important caveat for people listening is you don't do that in the first 6 months of therapy.
No.
You need a very, very good relationship, therapeutic relationship with the client. It needs to be really cemented well before you go down through this what I would call parent therapy. Now, an example of that is I'm talking about a mistake, if you like, I made. Some people call it a learning opportunity, but anyway, in therapy, when I just finished my training, became a clinical transaction analyst, and I really liked doing what you called parent interview back in the day, in the late 80s or whatever it was, which I now call parent interview because I do a lot of talking to the parents. I don't have a sort of structured half an hour just talking to one parent. But anyway, and I did it with this person far too early. I hadn't established a well enough relationship with the child and the client, or the client, whichever way you want to look at it. So we did this piece of work, and the person never turned up the next week. Now, it was before the internet or before emails or stuff like that. It wasn't before voicemails. So the person didn't turn up after we'd done this. I thought we use the word parent interview, if you like. Anyway, it didn't turn up. So, yeah. And didn't turn up the next week. So I left a voicemail saying I'd really like to turn up because I'm concerned about you. It's not something you don't usually do. I forget what I actually said. Anyway, and it was in a group. And then they turned up. So I said, "Oh, it's good to see you here again." "Oh, well, I'm here because you turned up." "Oh," and I said, "You sound quite angry, are you?" "Yes, I'm angry at you." And I said, "Angry at me?" "Yes, that last piece of work we did. You sided with my mother." Because what happened was the child listening on to what she heard with my inquiry with the mother was me sort of having an alliance or siding with the abusive mother and not her. two or three things why that happened.
Mm.
One, because I wasn't experienced enough to understand the importance of debriefing with the child after the parent interview.
Mm.
I wasn't experienced enough to allow time for the client's child to answer back to the parent.
Mm.
And secondly, I wasn't experienced enough. So I did it after about, I don't know how long, but the relationship wasn't cemented enough.
Yeah. So the working alliance wasn't strong enough
to protect.
Yeah.
And we resolved it, by the way. We resolved the rupture to a certain extent, but it was never the same. And I think she left 3 or 4 months later. So, you know, I'm not going to be too hard on myself. I think that I learned from that, and I learned a lot of good things, and we resolved that to a certain extent. So, you know, I don't think I repeated history too much, but over the years I've thought about it and perhaps given myself a hard time, but I learned a lot about it, and I passed it on to other students as a learning opportunity. And but that's what I was said, that people need to really debrief with the child, but don't work with the parent until you've got a good relationship with the child.
Yeah. Yes. I think how hard that must be for, you know, for you and the client in that rupture. That must have been really tricky. But
we
yeah.
did resolve it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But it was never quite the same.
Yeah.
And I think she just stayed much longer in therapy. So I keep coughing, don't I? Perhaps it's the thought of that work all 35 years ago. But I just wanted to pass on, because when you work, you need to really make sure that the relationship with the client is sound. And then you give enough time to the client or the child and the client to say something back.
Yeah.
Now it's ingrained, and 30 years later, it's ingrained in me, but it wasn't back then.
Yeah. So you need lots of time. You need to have a good working alliance with the client, and remember that the parent and the child are always listening. So whoever you're working with, the other one is listening. But the idea of the parent therapy is to find what do you say, their vulnerability of when they made the decisions.
Well, working with the parent, I think the most successful parent therapy is when you work with the scared part of the parent.
Yeah.
Who quite rightly have made decisions, but they've made it from a scared place, which has implications then on the client.
Is it always the scared part?
Yeah. It's not made from the adult. It's not. It could be made from the parent, but it's still the scare. Yeah, it's usually, well, it's never 100%, is it, in therapy, but it's usually.
Yeah, usually the scared child. Yeah, the scared child of the parent. Yeah.
And if you're going to work with the parent, you need a lot of debrief, and you need to come back to the next session. It's a process, never an event.
So a bit like the 2-chair work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lots of debriefing, lots of us checking up and following up, checking in and following up. Sorry.
Always. So the purpose of working with the parent therapy or parental introjects is you're helping the client desensitize, turn the noise down on the vocal parent, and helping the client empower themselves, have more self-agency. That's the reasons why you're doing it.
Yeah, so they're not living under they can stop living under the tyranny of the
parent. It's like talking to you, Claire, one of the most powerful parts of therapy is that when a client really, really understands that it's not themselves that is being hard on themselves, it's actually come from somewhere else. When they understand that, it's such a wonderful, I always get moved. It's such a wonderful, wonderful part of therapy. when they can separate out themselves from where the internalized narrative came from.
Yeah.
I always remember, and I say this clinical example often in 101s in different places, but I don't know how many years ago this is. It's many years ago, and it was in an assessment, and a woman came in, and she was about 15. She sat down, and she came for an assessment, and I was seeing her, and for that half an hour, so I can assess and pass on. And she said, "I'm depressed. I'm depressed. I've been told by my doctor that perhaps talking therapy will help. This is my last hope. I'm on medication for 25 years. Nothing's got better. I'm depressed. I'm capacitated by myself, and you are my last hope."
No pressure.
No pressure at all when someone says that. So, as I always think developmentally, I like to think, where has this come from? So somewhere in this assessment, I will also ask a little bit about a person's background, and so after I said, "Oh, right, okay, so you've been depressed, medication's not helping much. You've come to therapy. This type of therapy you've come from comes from a place where I always think the past affects the present. So tell me a little bit about how your mum and dad were." Oh, I had a really wonderful history, a wonderful parents. Oh, right, okay. So if you were to reflect on this in any way, things might have been challenging for you somewhere. Well, there was one thing. Oh, okay. What was that? Well, my mother was depressed. She was depressed for years, and she used to go to bed. And even though I understand she was depressed and she had problems, I didn't like that at all. I must have. Oh, so she was. So what? Oh, right. So she was depressed. Oh, okay. So, oh, right. And whatever made me do this, especially as an assessment, but I said it anyway. I said, "Oh, right, okay. So the depression you're talking about, your depression, isn't yours then." So, honestly, Kelly, so she stared at me. I thought her eyeballs were going to come out. She stared at me, and finally, I was trained to wait for a response. Finally, she said, "Yes, that's true." I said, "What's true?" "My depression isn't my depression, it's my mother's, isn't it?" And I could have opened a bottle of champagne.
Yeah.
And I said, "Yes, I think it's your mother's. You've just taken it on and you've accepted it as yours. And it's not." So she said, "Whoa, Bob," she said, "what do I do? What do I do?" Yes. And I said, "Well, you know what? You could give it back to her because it was never yours." "Oh, can I?" I said, "Yes, of course you can." "Oh, how do I do that?" "Ah, well, I'm going to pass you to a therapist that's very skilled, which will enable you to do that. Are you okay for that?" Yes. Anyway, I sent her to X. And about 6 months later, I was coming in early in the morning. This is years ago. I bumped into her. Now, I see many clients. I did know who it was. But anyway, before I can put two and two together, she says, "Bob, I've done it." I said, "What have you done?" "I've given back the depression to my mother." As if I'd just seen her the day before. Because psychological time and real time are the same thing. I said, "Well done." She says, "Yes, but Bob, what do I do next?" I said, "Look, go back to your therapist and talk to her about what you do next. But congratulations." She said, "Yes, I feel a lot lighter." And I thought those sorts of moments bring purpose and joy to my life as a therapist.
Yes. That sounds
I
like
make those connections.
Yeah. I love that question. Whose is this? Whose whatever is this? Is it
Yeah.
mine or is it yours?
And whatever reasons, after 25 years, the timing was right, and whatever I said, and that type of sentence construction. For what it worked, because she was ready to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, a great intervention there, Bob. Even in the assessment, that's fabulous.
She was ready to hear it, though. And
Yeah.
I always like that moment when clients realize that it's not their depression, or it's not their shame, or it's not, I really like that, because from that position, then they have access, they empower themselves.
Yes. Well, they can do something with it then. Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of staying in a powerless position where they're the victim. But they have to get to that place where they make that connection. And it's a marvelous time in therapy.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, you must know from your own clinical experience.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I really enjoyed that example. That's a lovely story, Bob.
So I'm sure you have many stories where you've helped people empower themselves in that way, and where you've experienced them understand, that it's not their shame, or it's not their depression.
Yes.
And they can give it back.
And replace it with something else.
Replace it with happiness, joy, or whatever it is, and you help them do that. And that's why I became a therapist. Talking this podcast, I know why I became a therapist, because I can help people, and have done, not only have a change their lives in a different way. And it was my own therapy that helped me change my life. So I got such happiness and purpose doing it.
Yeah. Oh, me too. My therapy journey changed my life for sure.
So we do that, don't we? But I can imagine many of your clients in those moments.
Yeah, and I enjoy it when it happens for sure. Clients are so, that when they get that recognition that it's not them, that it's a historical process that they've just been playing out, or it's not that voice. I always do, like, I've got that hand action because I always imagine it's the voice up here. So, and they recognize that actually they can turn the volume down on that. They don't need to just keep living
with that volume
around, going round and round, living with it,
yeah. So this is how I work with Parental Introjects.
Yes, well, that's a great place to end, Bob. Great podcast.
I've enjoyed talking about it. It reminds me of my clinical work that I did for so many decades, and I don't allow myself often to reflect on these moments of victory.
Yeah. Well, it's great to hear the stories and to hear how you work clinically. I know you're not working clinically anymore, so with clients. So
there's lots and lots of supervision, which I very much enjoy, because I can pass on a lot of my experiences. Because in a way, if I can help the therapist through supervision enhance their own skills, they can, pass on some of this stuff.
Which is really vital. Well, what's the word? I wasn't thinking vital. It is vital, but unique, I think.
So I like supervision, and I do a lot of. I don't work with individual clients anymore, but I do a lot of going to conferences, and I still teach in a Slovenian Psychotherapy Institute down a bit here, and I do demonstrations of therapy in many places. So I like that, almost like an elder in a community. Experience.
Do you still run therapy marathons?
I haven't done one. I get lots of calls. Yes, is the answer, but no, I haven't done one in my own institute for about 2 years. I do them in many other places. Perhaps I'll offer another one.
I'm not trying to increase your workload, Bob.
No. But I just thought that I do them other places more than I do in my own institute. But I like that. I'd still like to keep my hand in.
Keep your hand in. Good phrase. That's it, Bob. I'm going to say goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye. I'm still talking about it. What we're doing
next time, we're working with how to deal with loneliness and withdrawal. How to deal with loneliness and withdrawal.
That's right, because I think we were going to do it at another stage, but that'll be good. I like talking about that.
Yeah.
Because loneliness is often talked about as the blight of the modern age.
I hear it a lot in my therapy room. Yeah. Yes.
And also with loneliness comes aloneness often. And there's a difference between loneliness and aloneness. So we can talk about that.
Yes, we can. I look forward to that. So I'll see you next week. And goodbye to the listeners.
Yeah, goodbye.
Bye.
You've been listening to The Therapy Show, Behind Closed Doors podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. We'll be back next week with another episode.